Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo. It is January 19th, and we have a very, very jam-packed, newsworthy, noteworthy, whatever you want to call it, episode of AEW Dynamite to get into. We got so much to talk about, everybody. It is absolutely nuts. I think that this is the first show of the year where I legitimately have like a zillion notes, a zillion things to talk about. And for the most part, it was an interesting episode of Dynamite. I think that this episode may include some, I'm not going to say controversial opinions, but I don't necessarily think that everyone is going to necessarily agree, especially with one of the promos that we had for today's show, which you guys all know what I'm talking about, is that Cody promo, which we're going to talk about in a couple of moments as we will be running through the show in a nice chronological format. But it is going to be interesting to get everybody's thoughts as we jump in and talk about that, which is why I was late, because I wanted to rewatch that Cody promo, because I wanted to really come on here and make sure that I knew how I felt about it coming into this stream. So I wanted to make sure to get all of that cleared away. Anyways, before we get started, everybody, a friendly reminder that if you guys want to take part in this stream, please feel free to send in a comment anytime you want. This is a very interactive show. I will be pulling people's thoughts and opinions as we go throughout this entire stream. But on top of that, if you want to make sure that your comment, your question, or your statement gets read on the stream 100% guaranteed, you can go ahead and send in a super chat. If you do send in a super chat, I will make sure to read your comment. On top of that, F4W Online does allow me to keep 100% of all the money that I make from super chats. So it not only gets your comment read on this show, but it also helps me out, helps me stay fed, helps me stay roofed under this roof. I have a roof. Either way, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this episode of Dynamite, because there is so much to talk about here today. I cannot wait to get into it. So let's kick things off with, I gotta say, was one of my favorite, or probably my favorite part of the entire show. And the reason this was my favorite part of the entire show was really because because this was such a genuine, real moment, that I think the moment was even a lot bigger than a lot of us may realize right now. And that was the return of Jon Moxley. As you all know, Jon Moxley was out due to, he was in rehab for, alcoholism and all of that. And that is not something that is an easy topic to talk about. That is not an easy thing to go through. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend that I know anything about that, because I really do not. But I know from an outsider's perspective and an outsider's point of view that I can only imagine what the journey is like to go through something like that. So regardless, we have the return of Jon Moxley. And right off the bat, guys, we kick off the show with Jon. He comes out, coming out of the crowd, coming out of the, crowd area. And instantly, everybody, I don't know how to describe how good Moxley looked. I don't know how really to describe it, but his skin looked really great. He looked just very healthy. He was glowing. I know glowing is usually used for like pregnant women, but I just want to say, like, his skin looked very, very good. And I feel like something I had to mention. Looked slimmer, looked younger, and it's not like he looked bad before, but you can definitely notice those positive changes in the way that he did look. And so right off the bat, you notice that instantly. And I'm like, you know what? Good for him, man. Good for him. But then what we go into is this promo that I don't even feel comfortable calling it a promo, because a promo is usually, I feel like, when we're talking about a promo and we're talking about wrestling, it's usually something that is scripted, is storyline based, etc., right? Like that's a promo. But this, to me, I didn't even feel comfortable wanting to call it a promo, because I think it was more than that. Like, it was a conversation with a person who went through something, is going through something, made changes in their life, and here they are publicly addressing this in front of, thousands of people in the building, and, more watching back home, which I can only imagine is not an easy thing to necessarily do, especially when this is not something that is make believe, but actually something that really happened in your life. And so what we get here is this very deep, this very personal, this raw, emotional conversation between Jon Moxley and the people, where he talks about, a little bit of what he kind of went through and how he essentially is teaching people, I don't want to say teaching, but sort of inspiring people to, embrace those demons that you might, that he kind of talked about during this promo. And we'll break it down a little bit more. But we do got our first super chat of the day. And this one's from official Matt Games, who says, Mox lost weight and looks great. He's back. He does look great. Really, really great, as I just mentioned. Thank you so much to Matt for sending in this super chat and sending that in there as well. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what he actually said during this promo that I think touched and resonated with a lot of people here. So he basically comes in and he starts talking about this dream he had. He talks about this dream he had where he has this black, dark cloud over him. And he says that that cloud is sort of, laughing at him. It's laughing at him and, telling him that he didn't deserve all the things that he did, that he couldn't get away with all of, these things that were happening in his life, right? That it was going to catch up to him, etc., etc. And then he goes on to say, nobody gets through life unscathed. Nobody goes through life without scars. And so many of us try to hide our scars and we try to be this perfect human being, but there are no perfect human beings whatsoever. And if anything, it's those scars that you have that essentially make you and tell your story. So he kind of goes on, and this becomes a very inspirational promo where I'm like, man, I have not been through anything the way that Jon Moxley has. Like, my demons, they're baby demons. They ain't even demons. They're like little baby mini demons. They're gnomes. Anyways, but even and I think that everybody to some degree, no matter what your problem is in life or no matter where you are in life, I think that you were able to connect with this Jon Moxley promo, or conversation rather. And he basically says, look, he's not afraid to show the world who he is anymore, that some people are going to write him off. And instead of, running away from his demons, he's going to beat the shit out of his demons. And that's what he says. He thanks the people for supporting him, and he says that all he does this day is drink blood, and that he is ready for this new year. So I can't even begin to really emphasize, I think, how important this promo was, what it meant, and how it kind of was bigger than wrestling. Like, that's how I want to say, like, this was a bigger than wrestling, bigger than a wrestling promo, because it was just so real and something that legitimately, there are a lot of people that struggle with and just are struggling with different things in general. So I feel that this was a very awe-inspiring promo. Promo of the night, definitely. Promo of the year, definitely. And probably one of my favorite AEW promos across the board, again, because it was more than a promo. It was a conversation. And that's how I kind of want to describe it here today. So guys, send in your thoughts. How did you feel about the Jon Moxley promo? How did you feel seeing him back, etc.? We got a super chat from Killer Mike 375. Thank you so much to Mike, who says, I thought this was a great promo. It takes one hell of a man to spill his heart in front of millions and realize they've made mistakes and are working to make it better. Awesome to see Mox back. I can't even imagine what that must be like, because let's be real, guys. I mean, I'm just trying to imagine myself putting myself in a situation like that. It's not, easy, and it's not easy to go through that when you're a private person. Now imagine having to go through something like that when you are a public person. Like, that is not an easy thing to do, but I think that he used the time that he had today on the microphone to essentially kind of really connect with the people, but also, like I said, inspire people and make people feel better overall. So, man, this was a win-win across the board, man. Thank you so much to Killer Mike for sending that comment in here as well. This is a comment from Sam Fines, who says, the crowd was trepidatious, am I saying that correctly, at first about following him along with such deep, real shit. But once they started rallying, it was effing awesome. It was, I think, instantly, this wasn't even anything that took you a minute to get into. No, it was like you were on the edge listening to every word that he had to say. Let's see what we got here. We got people saying that they think that I'm going overboard. Dude, nah, I'm sorry, guys. Like, when you go through something like that, screw it. Like, that's not something that is easy to go through, guys. I thought it was a great promo and a great return. Like, we got Doppelganger at 399 who said on here too. Let's see what else we got here. This is a comment from Bucket Decals, who says, like you, Denise, I feel like my demons are gnomes, but I was watching this episode with someone who's had some real trauma in their life, and this really made a connection. Exactly. So there you guys go. A great return for Jon Moxley. We'll see. Obviously, they already announced that match with him and Ethan Page taking place on Rampage, but we'll see what he does returning to AEW. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and move on. So let's get into what we're going to go into, MJF and Wardlow. So we're back to this whole thing. We got a backstage promo, and MJF is basically, talking about the events that occurred last week. Obviously, we're heading into this match with CM Punk and Shawn Spears. So MJF is going off about that. And then he begins to apologize to Wardlow for for the tension that they shared during that match that CM Punk had with Wardlow, and that whole spectacle that went down between MJF and Wardlow. So MJF kind of gives him this like backhanded apology, though, because first he tells him like, hey, if he was a little bit more seasoned, he would have won. And so Wardlow's just behind him like, what the frick, dude? Like, damn, like he is beyond irritated at this point. These aren't even seeds that are being planted anymore. Like, rosebuds are out, flowers are blooming. It is there. The evidence that this relationship, that this friendship, whatever you want to call it, is out and it is done. So he kind of buries him, but then he says, you know what, man, I'm going to forgive you. And, I sincerely apologize. And I'm thinking, all right, that's very nice, MJF. He's apologizing to Wardlow. It's so sweet. Maybe they'll rekindle this relationship. Well, they do not. Well, they kind of do, but they do not in a sense, because MJF essentially tells Wardlow that he is going to dock his pay because he doesn't like the fact that regardless, he put his hands on MJF last week and he did not want to set a precedent. So he made sure to let him know that his pay was going to be docked. Let me tell you something. You do not mess with a man's money. You do not mess with anybody's money. So I really like this whole thing. Just even Wardlow not even saying anything and just behind there rolling his eyes and, pouting his mouth. I thought that was very, very, very funny. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump in because we got so much more to talk about here. And this one next up, let's get into this next match. But before I do, just a friendly reminder, guys, if you are watching and you do want to get your comment, question, or statement read on the stream, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. But now, let's get into Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Orange Cassidy and Kris Statlander. This was fun, guys. This was really, really fun. So for me, like, this was a match that I was already like looking forward to because I like everybody involved. I was excited to see what Adam Cole and Britt Baker were going to be like as a duo teaming together. And I already like Orange Cassidy and Kris Statlander, so I knew that that was going to be fun right off the bat. But we got a couple of good moments during this match here. And we essentially had Kris Statlander and Orange Cassidy sort of getting the best of Adam Cole and Britt Baker at the top of this match. But they end up, sort of kind of screwing themselves in the beginning because they start to celebrate about the fact that they got the upper hand, during this match. And then you essentially see Adam Cole and Britt Baker take advantage of that. There's a moment outside of the ring where you see Kris hit a moonsault on Britt Baker. And so both both Kris Statlander and Orange Cassidy are sort of, hugging it out and they're having a good time, like, yay, us. And so Adam Cole and Britt Baker use this moment to essentially super kick the both of them. And that is how you end up seeing the tables turn during this match here. Once we come back from commercial break, we get a lot more hot action. I loved everything between Kris Statlander and Britt Baker. There was a moment where both women are in the ring and we see Kris hit Britt Baker with a really nice clothesline. She then gets her with the Blue Thunder Bomb and she goes for the pin. It ends up being a near fall. Then we see the guys go at it. We see Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole essentially exchange rights and lefts until Orange Cassidy kind of gets the best of Adam Cole during that and starts hitting him with several punches. But Adam Cole hits him with the enziguri, and that was really fun too. We get a really awesome moment from Kris Statlander where she hits the area for 451. I forget the 450. She does that really, really phenomenal. Like, looks super impressive. Hella crisp. Loved it. Orange Cassidy hits the beach break, and I'm literally thinking that it is over at this point, that the match is over and they've won. But that's not the case. Instead, you get a near fall during that portion. Afterwards, you do see Adam Cole essentially hit the Panama Sunrise. He goes for the pin. It ends up being a near fall, and he's like super shocked. Britt Baker is super shocked that they didn't get the win there. So what they do is they set up a table on the outside, and this is the only part of the match that I did not like, and I'm going to tell you why I did not like this. So I get the story, okay, and I get why they were doing this, but I thought the execution was kind of lame, and this is why. So you see Orange Cassidy essentially accidentally knocks over Britt Baker, who's standing on the edge of the ring, and she's literally perfectly positioned where the table is right behind her. So you immediately know that she is going to get to be the one to go through that table. And so Orange Cassidy goes back on the ropes, and with the elbow, he essentially throws Britt Baker into the table. The only reason I did not like this was because it didn't even look like, I thought the execution was a little poor in the sense that I felt that Orange Cassidy and Britt Baker's, like, the connection that they make wasn't such a big impact that Britt Baker would go from the point where she was at to the table. I kind of felt like it was a little exaggerated and very obvious that Britt Baker essentially had to throw herself onto the table. So I liked the idea. I just didn't think that the execution was necessarily so believable, at least when you're watching it. Like, I didn't necessarily have the reaction that was intended for this finish. So I didn't really love that aspect of it. Adam Cole uses the referee getting distracted to hit a low blow on Orange Cassidy and get the win for his team. Afterwards, Adam Cole does a promo backstage and basically says that he is super pissed that Orange Cassidy put Britt through a table. So we're going to be getting Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy next week in a lights out, no DQ match. All right, guys, thoughts? How did you guys feel about Adam Cole, Britt Baker, and Orange Cassidy and Kris Statlander? Did you like the finish? How did you guys feel about it? Etc. Let's get some comments in here. Let's see what people are saying, everybody. This is coming from Justin Martin, who says, this match was a ton of fun, lots of action and well-placed comedy. Hopefully we'll see a lot more of Cole and Britt as a team. We got a comment from Ivan Alcantar, who says, yes, completely agree that table spot didn't look good. Still an awesome match, though. 100%. That's the same thing. We got a comment from the Centrovert who says, that's the thing with comedy wrestling, though. There were other moments that aren't believable, Denise. Yep, it happens, guys. It happens. Joseph Mackel says, why do these comedy characters have table spots? It just takes away from everything else. See, I don't have a problem with the table spot whatsoever. It was just the execution where I was like, okay, I kind of have to, pretend I didn't see how slow motion it felt to me. But overall, I still liked the concept of it and the plan that they had to do it. We got a lot of people putting over this match, saying they enjoyed it and calling it the best match of the card. And let's see what we got here. We got a comment from Tony Shade who says, I just left the event. It was nuts. The crowd was 100% behind the entire show. A perfect event. The crowd did look very good throughout the show. One of the things that I pointed out on Twitter was that I don't know why, but I just kind of felt like I was seeing more signs than I normally do from the audience. And I like that, man. I really, really do. So I was very happy to kind of see not the return of signs, because we've been having signs, but it just looked a little extra today, which I was obviously into that there. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and continue on, because like I said, we got plenty to get into here today. If you are on the stream, once again, please do not forget to subscribe to F4W Online. If you are watching on the YouTube channel, we have surpassed 83,000 subscribers and are on our way to 100K. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button. But now let's get into probably one of the funniest parts of the night. We had CM Punk versus Shawn Spears, the highly anticipated CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. This was hilarious to me, guys. Like, I died during this. And the reason for that is, so what matters is everything that happened before this, okay? We all remember last week that MJF was basically like, I'm gonna give you the match. I'm gonna give you the match. I mean, the guy's freaking veins are popping out of him, and he's talking about how he's gonna give the people the match that we've been wanting. He talks about that. This is it. CM Punk is going to lose. That's it. And he's, going off, right? And then he announces that it's going to be Shawn Spears versus CM Punk. And everybody's like, ha, right? So then prior to this match, they do a video package, promoting it, making it feel like a big deal. And everybody's like, yeah. MJF joins in on commentary. He's sitting there getting comfortable, expecting to be there for a couple of minutes. And this match kicks off. And CM Punk hits Shawn Spears with the GTS, and that is it. Goes to sleep. 1, 2, 3. The match is over. I think Shawn Spears' entrance was longer than the match itself, but I loved it because I was expecting a squash match of some sort, or maybe even just like a little brief match. I wasn't expecting just a GTS and then the pin, and that was it. Like, I did not see that necessarily coming. So it kind of made it like much more funny, because it goes in line with the story that they've been telling, that Shawn Spears is kind of like, he's essentially just MJF's shadow. So I really like that. I thought that was hilarious. Probably my favorite thing of the entire night. Immediately after, we see MJF enter the ring and act like he's essentially going to get into CM Punk's face, but CM Punk ends up grabbing his Burberry scarf, and MJF bounces. He runs out. He leaves. He even leaves without his scarf, man. Wow. We got a super chat from Ike Moore. Thank you so much to Ike, who says, I predict we will get an MJF versus CM Punk fake out in Chicago, and the real match will happen at the pay-per-view. I'm thinking that I think that it has to happen at Revolution. I don't see it going much longer than that. So we'll see. We'll see. I feel like it has to happen a lot sooner. But thank you so much to Ike Moore for also sending in this super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for sending that in. And thank you. I was trying to think of the word here. And Malumbano Mubita gives me the word that he's a stooge. Yeah, he's a stooge. I love it. Thank you so much for filling that in for me. Let's see what we got here, guys. Let's get some thoughts on how people felt about all of this. This was, let's see. This one's from Major Blood, who says, Spears deserves better. Sadly, he'll always be the jobber of the group. I like Spears, man. He's a good guy. But this is but he's like, look, he's not necessarily going, he's not necessarily getting over like as a badass, but I do think that him being involved with this story with MJF and Wardlow, because MJF is such a big star on AEW and people are so interested in this eventual breakup of Wardlow and MJF, that I do think Shawn Spears, even though he's kind of seen as a person that you're not necessarily taking too seriously, and I get it, but I do think that he is benefiting from being part of this story, from being aligned with all of these guys. At the end of the day, like anything that you're doing with CM Punk, and obviously MJF CM Punk is a big profile match. So being associated with that and getting TV time, like for me, I think that it is helping out Shawn Spears. Even though, again, it is making him look like a goofball, like a stooge, I still at least think it's giving him something of note on the show. So I don't necessarily hate it. We got a comment here from the Centrover who says that Spears has such a badass entrance, doesn't go with his stooge treatment. No, but I see it as like he's putting over the chair, and that's what he is, right? The chairman. So he's putting over the chair, but he himself is not necessarily getting over. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on, everybody here. Let's get into all right, we got an attack of the Gun Club attacking Christian Cage backstage. Billy Gunn essentially wants his guys to get a shot at the tag team titles, and that's essentially what goes down there. But now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Let's get into what everybody wants to talk about, and that is Cody Rhodes, everybody. This was interesting. This was very interesting, and I will warn you guys right now. I feel that I am in the minority here in terms of how I felt about the promo and how the majority of the internet people felt about the promo. But everybody is allowed to have their own opinions, and that is what we're here for. So I'm gonna be curious. I'm gonna be very curious as to how you guys felt about it. But I'm going to give you my general thoughts on this, and then we'll kind of break it down a little bit more and then get into your thoughts here because this was interesting. All right. So first of all, we got a super chat from Brian Doyle. Thank you so much to Brian for sending in a super chat. Brian says, I didn't like Cody's segment at all. It went way too long from the entrance to the promo itself. It was rambling and nonsensical. Half of his time could have been used for the women's match or story. So thank you so much to Brian Doyle for getting in your thoughts here. I really appreciate it. And I got to be completely honest here, everyone. I did not love this promo. I saw a lot of people that were like, yeah, this is the Cody that we want. We love this promo. It is great. And there were a lot of good stuff from this promo. Do not get me wrong. Like, let me correct myself there. There were a lot of good stuff. There were things that I did like from this promo. There was a direction that he was headed in the beginning that I thought, okay, cool. I like this. Let's see where we go from here. And I do feel that, again, there were some good things about it, but when I was watching this, again, I'm not reading Twitter. I'm not looking to see what other people's thoughts are. I don't want other people's thoughts to cloud my initial perception of this promo because I want to have my real, authentic thoughts, here on this show. I don't want to have them be influenced by what my friends say on social media, what other people say on social media, what the popular majority is saying on social media. I do not like that. I like people to have their own opinions, right? And so as I'm watching this, I kind of felt like Cody went in too many different directions. And so when he started off going one way, and I thought, all right, I know where he's going. I got it. All right, cool. And then he went into another direction and then started talking about something else, then started talking about something else, and then started talking about something else that led to something else, that led to something else. That was the overall point of the promo. And so for me, that was a little bit hard to get into because I didn't know. For me, he lost me. I didn't know if I was supposed to cheer for him, if I was supposed to boo him. I got very, very confused during this. Like there wasn't a clear message, I think, throughout this promo. Now, let me talk about the things that were good. So when he came out, I didn't necessarily think that he's gotten worse treatment by some of the other live crowds. I think that some of the other live crowds have booed him a lot more than this crowd did. I thought that there were a fair share of boos, but I didn't really feel that the boos were so much that, like, I didn't feel like they were so much. There was a point during this promo, and I think it was after he starts talking about the CM Punk pipe bomb, okay? And this was the part of the promo where he probably got the most, I guess you can say, heat, because you had the people basically saying, you know, shut the fuck up, ST, like shut the fuck up over and over again, right? To Cody Rhodes. And this is the point where I'm going, oh man, this is not going to go well for Cody Rhodes. Like, where is he going with this? Why is he bringing up the CM Punk pipe bomb? And so it kind of felt very... Okay, so at that point of the promo, I'm thinking, all right, you know, the crowd, he's talking about the CM Punk, he's talking about the CM Punk pipe bomb. The crowd is obviously not loving it. Cool, I get it. Then he goes over and he basically says that CM Punk's return was essentially the best comeback of the decade. He then starts talking about how CM Punk essentially said he was going to do all these things, but when he was gone, he left a void in this, He left a void, and in its place, that Cody Rhodes essentially did what CM Punk said he was going to do, and that Cody Rhodes essentially did it. Then he tells the people, you want to know why I won't turn heel. And he addresses this because this is something that has been talked about, because people have not been necessarily responding to Cody Rhodes the way that they essentially expected us to. People have been saying, myself included, that he should turn heel, and, you know, things will work out for Cody Rhodes. And he basically says he wasn't going to turn heel because the people cheered him when he needed them to cheer him the most, right? From here on, he goes on to talk about the Forbidden Door. And he basically says that he is the person who built the Forbidden Door. And at this point, this is where people are starting to sort of get behind Cody Rhodes. And this is the point where I thought, okay, this is good. I like everything here. And that was probably the peak of this promo. The peak was when Cody Rhodes essentially started going off and talking about the Forbidden Door and talking about industry journalists and saying that you're not a journalist if you disagree with anything that he said. And he got a positive reaction from the crowd. That, to me, was the peak of this promo. And I think it should have stopped there. I think it should have stopped around that point, and also the part where he mentions the Gunther McGillicuddy, whatever he says. He basically says, like, we're not in the business of renaming people, and he addresses he says Gunther McGillicuddy. And coming away, then he goes off to talk about how Brody King coming in with the name Brody just, you know, gives him a lot of balls, etc. It means he has a lot of balls coming in with that name here to AEW, right? So that was literally the peak of this interview and this promo, in my opinion. After this, I kind of felt like he started to jump around so much. We started to hear him mention all of these different people, all of these different names, and that's where I'm like, okay, I think you lost me here. This is going on way too long. We're going another direction. Where exactly are we going with this promo? So I liked the beginning of it. It lost me in the middle. And then we ended up coming back to essentially him talking about this ladder match that he's going to be having with Sammy Guevara. So for me, at that point, I'm thinking, like, we went through all of that to get to this point. So for me, it didn't really feel like it was a clear, concise promo where I knew this is the point. I felt we started off going in too many directions where, like, even explaining this promo for me was difficult because, again, there were just so many things to touch on, so many different things that were said. I think that a lot of the reasons why people did like this promo, because there were the portions of the promo that I did like, was really just the passion and delivery. That is one of the things that Cody Rhodes is very good at. He's very good at, you know, being this passionate passionate person. He's very good at delivering these promos, but I do think that it was long-winded, and had it been, trimmed down, this could have been like 3 different promos in one, man. I think had it been trimmed down and had it gotten, straight to the point, I think this would have been, for me, it would have been a home run. Now, on top of that, when you open up the show with a promo like the one that Jon Moxley did, where Jon Moxley is essentially, pouring his heart out, doing this very deep, personal, meaningful promo, I almost feel like obviously it's hard to top that, and I wasn't expecting anybody to top that promo. But when you have a promo that kicks off the show the way that Jon Moxley did, and you're going out there and doing a promo like this, I do think that it has to be it just didn't. It was 2 different things to me, 2 totally different things. Like Jon Moxley promo, loved it, connected with it, perfect, got like everything made sense. The Cody Rhodes promo had some good stuff, but it lost me a million different times during this. So I think if it would have just been more clear, more concise, and maybe ended at a certain point and got to the making of the beach break match, then I think it would have felt a little bit more of a win for me personally. So now that I kind of rambled on and did my own promo explaining 10 different things, guys, how did you feel about this? Did you love it? And if you did love it, tell me why you loved it. If you did not necessarily love it, what was it about it that you did not love? I'm assuming people's reasonings are going to be different. And go ahead and send in some thoughts here. And also, I want to make sure I got everything here. I think I got most of it. There was a lot to really cover. I kind of wish that I had like a full written out transcribed version of the promo so that I could break it down. But that's pretty much what we got here. So let's go ahead and see what people are saying as we go through this match here. Let's see. I'm going to read some comments. Once again, if you want to make sure your comment or question or statement gets read on the air, send in a super chat and I will make sure to read it. But let's get through a couple of these. This one is from Devin Schultz, who says, the old saying is kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. Says Cody has a problem with this, and Cody's promo game has been terrible since America versus England promo in May 2020. So the promo, like his most recent promos, and ever since that whole America Anthony Ogogo thing, like ever since that whole thing went down, that was not necessarily the very best, right? That was not great. A lot of people did not like that. I was one of them. I wasn't a fan of that promo, but everything before that, I've been a fan of. And so I can't necessarily totally disagree with that. Let's see. This one's from Dale Arazi, who says, y'all thinking about this too much. He came back, did the Cody thing, addressed the inside smart stuff, and challenged Sammy. Typical Cody stuff. This is a comment from the Centrovert, who says, compare this promo to Jay Lethal's promo against Starks last Friday. Lethal's was focused and hit all the points that even a casual fan would get right away. And yeah, Lethal's promo, I don't feel like I can compare the two, because his was more of like, it was very, very quick. And I feel like I get what you mean, but I don't feel like I can compare the two, because I think there were 2 different types of promo. Let's see what we got here. This one's from Mac, who says, I physically folded with it myself with cringe at one point. As a Cody hater, some stuff just felt tone deaf. Like he doesn't fully get why people don't like him. I think that's been a criticism that we have heard, obviously throughout social media. You see people, explain their reasonings. And I should start off by saying that I like Cody. I'm a Cody fan. Like, that's something that people should know right off the bat too. And I felt very 50-50 about this promo here. Let's see what we got here, guys. Let's see. We got a lot of people. Some like it, some people don't. We got one from Reggie Simmons, who says, I thought this promo was brilliant. Let's see. I want to get some more of the people that liked this promo. This one's from Joseph, who says, instant classic for new fans, which tells it all. Pile Driver Finisher says, think about if he was trying to put the whole company over while feuding his and Sammy's match. See, that's 2 different promos, guys. That's literally 2 different promos right there. Let's go through a couple more. This one's from Devil Within, who says, the point was that AEW, and by extension, Cody, is the realization of CM Punk's revolution started by the pipe bomb. That's a good way of putting it. A really good way of putting it. Thank you so much to Devil Within for sending that in as well. Haj Gulashi says, sounds like he accomplished exactly what he's been doing and what his character is right now. Not sure if you're supposed to cheer or boo. I love how the crowd chanted STFU and also chanted Cody. He's the most interesting thing going right now for me. And then I got yelled at for using bad language. Thank you so much to everybody who's sending in their thoughts, by the way. I'm trying to get in as many as I possibly can here. This one's from Roberto, who says, maybe because I was really stoned, but I really enjoyed Cody's promo tonight. Oh man, you were able to follow all of that with okay, I'm not even gonna get into that. This one's from Reggie Simmons, who says, how can y'all not realize you're being worked? Cody is playing y'all like a fiddle. I love it. And let's go through a couple more. And this one's from Haj Galashi, who says, Denise, I liked your explanation, but it lost me in the middle. I know, I kind of felt the same way too. Let's go through a couple more comments and see what people are saying. This one's from Mark, who says, I wish he would have cut the promo with all the same bullet points without saying things like turning heel. I didn't hate that though. Like him using the phrase turning heel. I did not hate that. This one's from the Cooch97, who says the crowd fluctuated back and forth, booing and then cheering, then mixed, then cheering, and then quiet. Maybe because people were also trying to decipher what they were supposed to do. Robert says, this was a good promo by Cody. Yes, the first half was better than the second half of the promo, but still good overall. And let's go through some more and see if I got everything here. This one's from El Profe Jr. 88, who says, you're not in the minority, Denise. It seems to be 50-50 in terms of reactions. This is true. I did see a lot of people. I did see a couple of people on social media who kind of alluded to some of the same things that I kind of alluded to here. And we got people saying that turning heel was BS. Church of Platinum saying, nah, saying turning heel was BS. So I guess people feel differently about this. All right. Let's see. All right. I think I got most of all of these comments here. Again, if you want to go ahead and share your thoughts, you are more than welcome to. You are more than welcome to tweet me anytime, as I'm always on Twitter. Kind of have a Twitter addiction. @_ Denise Salcedo. If you watch the show and listen to the show in the audio version, you can go ahead, like I said, tweet me. Or also, if you are watching the replay of this, you can go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below. Again, share your opinions, everybody. When it comes to entertainment, I feel like you don't have to always love something and you don't always have to hate something. I think that you can be either or you can be in between, and it is your opinion and you are allowed to have one. All right, let's go ahead and moving on. Here we go. We got some people debating this one actually. Joseph Mackle says saying turning heel is bullshit when he himself sold heels and faces were tired tropes. So we got a couple of people here who essentially did not like that. This one's from Augustine, who also says the turning heel line was a turnoff. Okay, cool. All right, so the one part I was wrong about there. All right, let's go ahead and move on from this, everybody. Oh, we're getting a lot about this. This is from Pile Driver Finisher, who says, if you break the fourth wall, do you just go through it or break another? Haj Galashi says, folks getting worked. You'll love to see it. Oh, the drama. The pro wrestling drama. All right, let's go ahead and move on from this, guys. Wow, what a conversation. Let's get into some more because we got plenty more that went down on AEW Dynamite. Before I continue, I do want to let you guys know that I'm going to be back here on Friday to talk about Smackdown and Rampage. So if you guys want to come in and talk about 3 hours of wrestling all packed into one little neat hour, you are more than welcome to hop in there for that. On top of that, I am doing a bonus stream, everybody. On Sunday, I will be here for a bonus stream talking about the world of GCW, the world on GCW. And we're live, pal. We got to talk to Brett Lauderdale, and he talked about the show. That it's a loaded card. We're going to be seeing Jeff Jarrett versus Effie. That's going to be nuts. We're going to be seeing Matt Cardona in action, Joey Janela, Jon Moxley, who we saw here tonight against Homicide. That's going to be nuts within itself. Ruby Soho, Ali Catch, and so much more. So I will be here on Sunday. I'm probably going to have a guest for that show. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens, but come in for that if you guys want to talk about GCW that day. Okay, let's go ahead and get into really quickly. Jade Cargill essentially issued an open challenge for the TBS Championship. Anna Jay accepted. Then we get the Varsity Blondes, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. versus the House of Black, Malachi Black, and Brody King. So there were things that I liked about this and things where I was like, So this was a quick match. This was a quicker than I expected it to be, honestly. But we essentially ended up seeing Malachi Black and Brody King get the win during this. But the one thing that I necessarily did not really care for is that I feel like the Varsity Blondes, there was a moment last year or so where I felt that the Varsity Blondes were really beginning to get popular. Like they were popular. Like people were into Varsity Blondes, right? And people like Varsity Blondes. And we had the whole Brian Pillman Jr. feud with MJF, which was really good there too. Really enjoyed that too for that period. For that time period, I was really invested in that storyline, right? So now I kind of feel, though, that this whole thing with Malachi Black and the House of Black and all of this, they've kind of made Varsity Blondes look like jobbers now, which that's what I'm not a fan of. Like, they made them look like geeks the last couple of weeks. And they did this whole thing where, they missed Malachi Black blinds Julia, okay? And obviously, Griff Garrison is pissed off. He's angry. He wants to get revenge for what happened to Julia. And then Brian Pillman's kind of like, well, they weren't really on the same page. So Griff Garrison gets beat by Malachi Black. Then afterwards, Brian Pillman Jr. gets a shot and Malachi Black also gets beat. And then afterwards, we go into this tag team match and they get beat really quickly. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that kind of sucks for Varsity Blondes. I feel like they kind of got put into this designated jobber position to put over the House of Black, which I get. Malachi Black is, a very popular person. Brody King coming into the company is going to be popular as well. They're a popular team, PWG champs, etc. But I do kind of feel like this is an undoing, I think, a lot of what they were doing previously with the Varsity Blondes. And the Varsity Blondes still haven't necessarily gotten to that point on the roster where you're like, yeah, these guys should be, future AEW tag team champions. Like, they will be hopefully at some point, but they're starting to feel a lot further from that than closer to that with this whole House of Black thing. And post-match, what we get here is the part that I did love. And this is Pac essentially coming out, and they do a split screen thing where you see Pac doing his, his whole spiel, and then you have the House of Black in the ring. I love this. And what I did love about this is essentially Pac, who got blinded by the Miz, by Malachi Black, etc., is basically coming out here and he wants revenge. What I liked about this is that he basically says that Malachi Black is this self-obsessed, power-hungry guy and he wants to get his revenge. It's clear as day. But what I like on top of this is really just the production and the presentation of Pac. Pac having the blindfold and the red, lighting, and he looks so mean, and he's got that little card. It looks very savage. It's coming across as very dark and evil, and I think that's what's really drawing me to this. So I gotta say, I'm a fan of what they're doing right now with Pac, and it kind of feels weird though, because this feels like a situation that it's between Pac and Malachi Black, so it does kind of feel like Brody King is just like there right now. Like, obviously he just got there, so he's sort of not really embedded into the storyline. At least I don't really feel like he's fully embedded into it. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I do really like what they're doing with Pac and how they're presenting Pac with this. Like, it's making me excited because I don't really feel that I've been all that invested in Malachi Black since he came into AEW. Like, he came into AEW red hot, right? And I'm like, hell yeah, because I loved Aleister Black. I was a person that was saying that WWE should have done more with Aleister Black. It really did not make sense that they didn't do anything with Aleister Black. So him coming into AEW was very exciting for me. And I liked some of the stuff that he was doing with Cody Rhodes. I thought a lot of that was working. But then after that, they kind of, really didn't, I don't know, they really didn't continue the momentum, at least I think, for Malachi Black. And so finally, we're picking this back up with Malachi Black and Pac, and I feel like this is officially going to be the feud that sort of gets him back to that point where I think a talent like him needs to be. So let's see what we got here, guys. Let's get some thoughts and see how people what people are saying. This one is from Beyond Gorilla, who says, appreciate the kind comments on the production. I produced Pac's promos. Really? Okay. Dude, that's awesome. All right. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Let's see what else we got. This one's from Lord Pelagius, who says Pirate Goth Julia Hart. Yeah, Julia Hart. I kind of want to see like the dark side of Julia Hart, like where she turns into like, I don't want to say like an evil villain, but where she becomes a bad girl. I want to see that. I'm here for that. This one is from 8 Rose TZ, who says, I'm sorry, but Varsity Blonde's 5 years away from being there yet. They have promised, but I'm fine where they are right now. And this one is Church of Platinum, who says that Varsity Blondes have become victims of a bloated roster. And Justin Martin says dominant win for the Kings of Black Throne. The Pac promo was very interesting. Zeno Hour says the Varsity Blondes have run its course. All 3 need to do something else. Yep. Well, we'll see what happens, guys. We will see what happens. All right. Let's go ahead and Roberto says she becomes Alexa Bliss, or a better version of Alexa Bliss. Oh God. Let's go ahead and move on. All right. Let's see what we got after this, everybody. All right, we got a Lance Archer video that aired, and Jake Roberts essentially spoke on his behalf and basically says that Lance Archer is not going to be waiting in line for anybody anymore. And Hangman Page offered him a title match, and Roberts says that it's time for Adam Page to bite the dust. Moving on, we get Frankie Kazarian versus Lance Archer. Lance Archer comes out and he's accompanied by both Jake the Snake Roberts and also Dan Lambert. And I'm thinking, all right, at this point, I'm very confused because obviously we know we saw the events that unfolded when Lance Archer returned and his alignment with Dan Lambert, etc., right? That all occurred last week. But at this point of the show, I'm thinking, what the hell is going on with Dan Lambert, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page? Like, is that still a thing? They later addressed it in the later segment. They did do like a promo together, but I did not know if that was like over and done with, if they were still going to do something. No idea. The match itself, I'll be honest, I did not necessarily love. I thought that it went a lot longer than I expected. I was really kind of expecting, I was expecting a better match. I didn't think that this match was very exciting. I kind of felt myself, as I was watching this match, I kept wanting to like go on Twitter. And usually when a match doesn't grab my attention and I want to go on Twitter, that is not a good sign. So I did not love this match, but we did see Lance Archer essentially pick up the win here. He hits the blackout, gets the win, but there really wasn't much that necessarily grabbed my attention during this. Post-match, though, we do have Tony Schiavone essentially he basically asked Dan Lambert, like, hey, what is this relationship between you and Lance Archer? And Dan Lambert basically says that he doesn't need to understand it, that we don't need to understand it. And Lance Archer then takes the mic and starts talking about how he's done with this cowboy bullshit, that he's done with it. And he's about to kind of show people like what he can do and what levels of extremes he can go to. And he goes and almost chokeslams Frankie Kazarian off the stage. But before he even gets the opportunity to do that, Hangman Adam Page, our favorite cowboy, comes out and essentially puts a stop to that. They end up getting face to face and they end up going at it after Hangman Page literally slaps the hell out of Lance Archer, slaps the hell out of him, and they end up going, Page hits him with the boot. He tries to go for the buckshot lariat, but Archer stops him, and then he gets him with a couple of elbows. Hangman Page gets Lance Archer with a couple of elbows, and that's essentially how this whole thing ends up dissolving there. So overall, good stuff. Happy to see Hangman Page. Excited to see this program with him and Lance Archer, because when Hangman Page was feuding with Bryan Danielson, you knew it was going to be good because Bryan Danielson is really on another level. So I feel that Lance Archer, Hangman Page, and the type of work that they put together is really going to show what kind of champion we can expect from Hangman Page when he's put in the ring with, these different types of opponents with somebody like Lance Archer. So I think that this is going to be a preview as to what we can really expect, depending on how long they obviously have Hangman Page as champion, which I'm hoping is a long, little lengthy reign, because I like that stuff. All right, let's see. We got any interesting stuff here to get into, but this one is... this is a comment from Duke's Catastrophe, who says, Lance Archer fighting with the crowd kept me interested. Let's go through a couple more. This one's from the Centrovert, who says, LOL, the Spears match should have been longer. This Archer match should have been the quick squash. Oh, God. Hey, CM Punk versus Shawn Spears was match of the year, all right? Match of the year. I dare you to fight me on that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to this. Actually, we got a comment that I'm going to read. This one's from Andrew Cook, who says, they are trying to build up Archer to take on Page, but Lambert being involved kind of throws this off a little. They just need Archer to be a monster for Hangman to defeat. I feel you. I don't necessarily think that they need the added addition of Dan Lambert into this. I don't necessarily think that, I feel like with or without Dan Lambert, it really wouldn't make a big difference. Like, it really wouldn't make that much of a difference. I agree in the sense that I want to see them build up Lance Archer into this big monster. Obviously, we already know, given his size and stuff that we've seen from him before, that he could be this, big monster. And I want to see Hangman Page, the champion, essentially beat down this monster and continue on. I like that. That's kind of what I want to see. But thank you so much to Andrew for sending in that comment there. And this one's from Hodge Gulashi, who says, Archer has done just a monster thing before, so this might be more unique now. Smart Alex531 says, I honestly was hoping Archer was going to attack Lambert with the chair at the end. Doesn't seem like it. Does not seem like it. Alrighty, everybody, let's go ahead and jump into... all right, we got promos. Dante, Lee Moriarty, and Matt Sydal. They basically all say they're gonna have each other's back. Then we have Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs essentially do a promo of their own, and this was really funny because Ricky Starks hits him with tells Dante Martin that he has a baby brother complex, that he believes that everybody's his friends and everybody's gonna have his back, but in reality he has no friends. And Hobbs tells him to essentially have somebody that's gonna watch his front, his back, and his sides, because Team Taz builds assassins. This was really good. I loved Hobbs and Ricky Starks in this. He popped me with the with the baby brother complex line. Really, really funny. And of course, everybody's asking the magic question. Launchpad 42 says, where is Lio Rush, though? I legitimately, and we talked about this when they had Jay Lethal essentially come in and replace him. I just had an interview with Lio Rush, and we were just talking about AEW. And so I'm thinking, all right, he's not there. He's got, commitments with New Japan, etc. But now doesn't seem like I Obviously, nothing has really been said. Nothing has really been put out there. It's really all speculation. But the speculation is things are not looking so promising. It doesn't look so promising, guys. I don't know what's going on with Leo Rush. I don't know when we're going to see him back on TV. I don't know. At least on AEW, I don't know. I'm out. Sam3 says Dante has a different coach each week because he's got a baby brother complex, according to Ricky Starks. Let's see what we got here. We got a comment from John Schuler who says, was at the show tonight. Main event was great, but the one move Punk win and the prolonged Archer beatdown really took the crowd out of it. Yeah, the Archer beatdown was not that great. I didn't think that the Punk win took the people out of it. I thought that was hilarious. Wow, I'm actually surprised to hear you say that. Okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next topic, everybody. After this, what did we have? We had Layla Hirsch essentially attacking Kris Statlander and Red Velvet. She's pissed for the events that occurred on their Rampage match. After this, we got Serena Deeb versus Skye Blue, who I adore. I adore Skye Blue. She's just too adorable, everybody. I got to work with her at Mission Pro, and I was like, she's so cute. She's terribly adorable. Anyways, she got killed in this match by Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb obviously is doing this whole new, I'm just a badass girl who wants to cause pain to people, and she beats the living hell out of Skye Blue, and not so much like in a way where it's like, the kind of beatdown that you would expect. It was more of like her schooling Skye Blue and putting her in all these different holds and these different submissions, etc. Serena Deeb is really just going out there and having fun with Skye Blue and her body parts. She wants to punish Skye Blue because she doesn't even go for the pin right away. She ends up winning with the Serenity Lock, wins. Skye Blue taps out. Good stuff. Elevates Serena Deeb's character further. Good for Serena Deeb. Happy to see Skye Blue get some TV time, and I hope to see her coming back soon. We got a super chat from Mark Warburton. Thank you so much to Mark for sending in a super chat. He says, Layla laid. I cannot say those words back to back. It's like a tongue twister. That forearm Layla laid out Red Velvet with looked wicked. And Serena just tearing apart Skye Blue was a really great squash. I liked both segments. Oh my gosh, Mark. That was, you kind of stumped me there with the Layla laid. Thank you so much to Mark for sending in that super chat. I appreciate the comments there. Church of Platinum says, you're worse than JR, Denise. There was something really funny today that I was laughing about with JR because I thought this was really funny because when Britt Baker came out, he said the bitch word, right? I was going to say the B word, but he said the B word, right? And usually he says cowboy shitsnits. So I kind of thought that it was funny that like he's like more comfortable saying the B word than the shit word. You know, I kind of thought that, I don't know, was something that I thought was funny. All right, we're moving on, everybody. Let's go ahead and jump into, let's see what do we got after this. After this, let's hop into the matches that were announced for AEW Rampage this Friday, which I will be here during this post show to talk about. But it's looking like a pretty good Rampage. Jon Moxley versus Ethan Page. This will be Jon Moxley's return match. We got Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero versus the Young Bucks. I'm expecting a really fun match out of this. And guess what? We are back with some Hook action. So Hookers Rise. We got Hook versus Serpentico happening on Rampage. And we're also getting the TBS Championship defended for the very first time. It's going to be Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay. So that should be a good time. Then they announced a couple of matches for Beach Break, next week's Dynamite special. We got a couple of good ones here. We got a ladder match, a TNT Championship ladder match, Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes. That's going to be fun. We got a lights out match, which I'm really looking forward to. Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy. I think that's the one I'm most looking forward to. Then we got Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz versus Daniel Garcia and 2.0. Should be pretty all right. And then we got Red Velvet versus Layla Hirsch. Two girls I have been rooting for both of these girls. Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch continuously. every single time that they get any TV time on Dynamite or Rampage, they prove themselves and they do really well. So I'm rooting for both of them to have a banger of a match, because if it's a banger of a match, I can sit here and talk about it. All right, guys. Oh God. This person sent me a tongue twister saying Layla laid a ladle of labels on Layla. Layla laid a ladle of labels on Layla. Layla laid a ladle. God, I'm going to practice that. Thank you so much to this person says. I'm actually a really big fan of tongue twisters. Really big fan of them. I actually have a video up on my YouTube channel where I do tongue twisters with the Good Brothers and Rocky Romero. It is so much fun. It's a super random video. It's up on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. And we do tongue twisters. It's great. All right, guys, we got a brand new president of the God. I can't talk anymore. The Hardy family office is now the AHFO, and Matt Hardy essentially named Andrade the brand new president. He is now the 51% owner of the AHFO. Jesus Christ, that's going to be fun to say. This was funny as hell. This was super funny because Andrade cracked me the hell up, because Andrade's been trying to recruit or purchase rather Darby Allin. And he says like, oh yeah, like it's that little kid with stink. I love Andrade. It was so funny. But it killed me. It killed me like 1,000 times, because I've been guilty of, like, when I say sting really fast, sometimes it also sounds like I'm saying stink. So I thought it was really funny when Andrade did it. It killed me. It killed me like 1,000,000 times over. So I love this. Like, I love Andrade's wanting to purchase the little kid. It's hilarious. El Presidente, says Duke's Trashafy. Oh my God. The person says words are hard. Denise, get in tougher. Clearly, I need to speak a little bit better. Usually, I do these like tongue twister exercises, but I've gotten so good at the tongue twisters that I already know that those are the ones I continue to know, and I do them like multiple times. Like if I do like a ring announcing gig or something like that, I do tongue twisters just to kind of make sure that I don't stumble. Guys, it's not easy doing a 1 hour show by yourself and not stumble at some point, but it's so much fun to do tongue twisters. Anyways. Mike Check 1 says, the little kid that works for Stink. Lord Pelagius says, this segment fairly well represented my view of finance, in that I had no idea that was what was happening, but it seemed important to those involved. Yeah, Matt Hardy starts talking about the chairs and all of this, etc. Let's go ahead and continue on from this, guys. Everybody's putting over Andrade, by the way. Yeah, he's awesome. Freaking love him. Bloody Blue says, Denise, I expected you to be a cunning linguist. Don't disappoint me. Oh man, I'm depressed now. Really depressed. I thought I was really good at tongue twisters. Like, it was like if somebody were to ask me what's a secret talent that you have, I would have said tongue twisters until I choked. All right. After this, we got our main event, everybody. We got Sting and Darby Allin, or rather Stink and the little kid, versus the Acclaimed Matt Caster and Anthony Bowens. This was, first of all, I got to put over Matt Caster's rap, because I wish I would have really transcribed this, but there was so much to do today that I didn't even have time to transcribe the hit lines on the shows like I normally do. But Max Caster had some really funny lines for this rap burn that he did on Sting. He brings up, fighting with gory. He says, fighting with us is like gory mutilation, a nod to the recent news story that broke about, WWE and AEW and throwing shots at their gory mutilation, etc. There's a line in there where he says, we're black and white, and we don't even need face paint. There was a lot in there that they kind of put in there that I thought made it one of my recent favorite burials for their opponents there. But let's go ahead and talk about what actually went down during this match here. And what we got here was, so this one we had the Acclaim essentially attacked Sting before the match rang, before the bell rang, during Sting's entrance. So they attacked him. Then they wrapped a chair around Darby's neck and essentially sent him into the post, and that is how essentially this became a 2-on-1 handicap match. And so Sting basically is wrestling both of these guys on his own. He's pretty much manhandling them for the most part, but I think it was right after the commercial break, we started to see the Acclaimed, right after the commercial break, we start to see the Acclaimed essentially turn the tables, and they're about to essentially get Sting. They're getting the upper hand during this, and out of nowhere, Darby Allin returns to this match. He literally flies into your screen. He's just there. He pops in. He's back in this match. He hits a coffin drop. Really cool stuff there. And then after the coffin drop, we had this major moment from Sting, which I absolutely loved. We saw Sting literally go to the stage, and he does a freaking splash from the top area onto the Acclaimed. It was phenomenal. Such a good moment during that. And afterwards we see Darby Allin hit a coffin drop and get the win for their team. So this was a fun match because of the later portions. I didn't really love the start of the match. Like, I feel like we didn't really need the 2-on-1 handicap aspect of this story. Like, I didn't really feel like we needed it. I think it should have just been straightforward, what they said we were going to do, a tag team match. Great. Just have it be that. Do the fun spots. Have those happen, and there. Like, I liked that. I would have preferred that, excuse me. I didn't really love the whole, Darby's out and Darby's back. And I also feel like it takes away from Darby, because we've seen Darby do some crazy stuff and literally bounce back from that. And so for him to kind of be taken out from this match, I wasn't necessarily in love with. It just didn't really fall in line with the Darby character, at least in my opinion. So I think that they should have just had this just be the match that it was supposed to be. And obviously the second portion, once Darby came back and this turned into a full-fledged tag team match, that's what I think was the better portion of this. But let's see what we got here, guys. This one is from Sheldon Jackson. Thank you so much to Sheldon, who sends in a super chat saying, Denise, you should look up a show hosted by To Hear More called Wording is Hard. Wording is harder on YouTube. I agree. Words are difficult sometimes. I second you, man. I second that. Thank you so much to Sheldon Jackson for making me feel better and sending in a super chat. This one's from Danny Boy, who says, to a grown man going through a goth phase. Banger. Definitely a banger. All right. I think let me get some comments, guys. Send in your last thoughts on Sting and Darby, how you guys felt about this match, and let's get some good thoughts in here, and we'll go ahead and wrap up the show right after that. Let's see. Mike Sheck 1 says it's good that he got the gory self-mutilation line out of the way first. And this one is from Danny Boy, who says main event was anticlimactic in my opinion. The Acclaim needs more tag team moves because the mic drop is so-so. I liked the mic drop. All right, let's see what else we got. So we also got a comment from Danny Boy, who says that the main event was really the rap part. Now, we got some good moments during that match. Devin Schultz says, I was surprised by the result given they were touting the Acclaimed as the #1 ranked tag team. So now I wonder who is truly going to rise as the top contenders after the Gun Club. And let's see what we got, if we got any more comments here. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. This one is from Mac Hensley, who says, most people, when they jump off the stage, there's a bit of beauty and grace. Sting definitely lacked grace, but still, holy frick, 62-year-old Sting jumping off the stage. I liked it, man. I thought the way that it happened, it was good. I enjoyed it. I seriously cannot applaud Sting more for doing something like that, especially like you mentioned. I hate to be like, oh, his age. I hate to be that person that's bringing up the age, but like, damn, how can you not, like, how can you not bring up the age there? Alrighty, guys, there you go. That was AEW Dynamite, January 19th. I want to thank you guys so much for coming in and tuning into the show. It really means a lot to me having your support each and every single week. Doing multiple shows a week is a it's a mission, man. It is a mission, but I love this job. I love doing this, and I love chatting with all of you guys. So I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And then on top of that, again, I'll be back on Friday for SmackDown and Rampage, and then I'm going to be back on Sunday for a bonus stream. Again, that's going to be for the World on GCW, their show that they're doing at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Pretty good card. Look it up if you guys haven't seen it already. I will be on here probably with a guest. I do not know yet, but please make sure you guys tune in for that. Again, it is a bonus stream. On top of that, if you haven't yet, make sure to head on over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. I got interviews up, a new one that I just uploaded today with WWE's Aaliyah. If you guys want to check that out, we talk about her journey, for her long journey from NXT to SmackDown. We talk about that. I got an interview with Leo Rush, Deonna Purrazzo, Zicky Dice. I did an unboxing video of the AEW All Elite crate. I think people really enjoyed that video. So check that out over on my channel. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys so much as always. Goodbye.